so I got some time to kill before I have to drive into town for my daughter. So I figured I'd come out for the sunrise out to the lake. I know y'all can't see it because of the glare, but it's beautiful. I'll post pictures. It's an absolutely beautiful 67 degrees right now, which is actually really kind of nice. Here in Florida, it almost feels like fall. Watching a little alligator and all the big birds standing around. We're starting to get an influx of the migratory birds now, ducks and whatnot. This is my life. Which leads me to a question. Some people ask me if I get lonely living out here away from everybody. The short answer to that is no, I don't get lonely. It's funny, you always think about what's the difference between loneliness and being alone. I do not get lonely. Totally not lonely. I don't think I'm really ever lonely. Sorry, I'm watching the tree swallows as they're flying around catching bugs. I don't get lonely. I really don't. I prefer being alone. I'm alone. Granted, my daughter does live with me. One of my kids lives with me, but she's never here, so it's pretty much like living alone. After being married and having kids and living in, the suburbs and all that stuff, and having neighbors and friend groups and all that stuff, being burnt out on friends that were mine by default, especially from my last husband. And I love the guys, I really do. I actually get along better with men than I do with women. I get along with everybody, but honestly, with women there's just too much drama. I prefer being around men. But no, I like the solitude. I kind of always have. I've always loved it when significant other went out of town or was at work and I was able to be at home alone, or just stuff like that. I relish those times, just having time for myself. And now I get time for myself all the time, except when I'm at work. When I'm at work, I'm in a loud, busy, bright warehouse, and it is just non-stop noise and people. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy my coworkers. I love them. I love them all. There's some really good people, but if I had to choose between work and hanging out with them and home, I'm picking home every time. Unfortunately, I do need a job, so there's that. But no, I enjoy my alone time. Since I moved out here 2 years ago, I get a lot more alone time. And the funny thing is, when my husband left 3.5 years ago, at first I was like, yes! And then after a couple of days of that, then grief hit me, and it hit me really, really hard. I won't go into all that, but once that fog lifted, I was happy. I was so happy. It took about 2 months for me to get through that, and once it lifted, man, I was so happy. Thank you for the gift of leaving. Really, seriously, thank you for the gift of leaving, because I found myself. I became better in every single way that I could become better. I don't miss him at all. I really don't. I don't miss him. I wish him well. But Sorry, I'm watching the birds again. Forgot what I was gonna say. Shit. Oh. But eventually came the time where I needed a roommate, just to make sure that the bills were paid and everything, because I lived in a big, 4-bedroom house. All my kids had moved out, and it was just me, and I needed a roommate. So I got a roommate. The guy was a piece of shit, and his moving in kind of caused me to relapse into being just not good anymore. So I kicked him out after he didn't pay his rent and did a bunch of other things. But then I got another roommate, and this guy was awesome. I loved him to death. He was like having another son. He was really fun, really good deep conversations and everything. But after being around that for a few months, I started to withdraw and started staying in my bedroom and I just didn't want to be around anybody. Having a roommate to me was stressful. Having somebody else in my house, in my space, I didn't feel like I could, I didn't feel like, I don't know, it felt weird having somebody else in my house again. And then he moved out. He got a girlfriend and he moved out. He actually moved out of state, and he's doing really well now. But then I got one more roommate, and he was super sweet. I never saw him really. He stayed in his room all the time, computer nerd. And that was nice, but I still felt like I couldn't, I felt like the common areas of my house, were not mine anymore. And even though he stayed in his room all the time, I dreaded even having a conversation with him. He's super sweet, super nice guy, very quiet, very introverted. And I still spent almost all of my time at my house, in my bedroom, or out on the back end, on my pool deck, which, that was my other place. But when you have another dude living in your house and you're an over 50 woman, you really don't want to be strutting around your pool in a bikini in front of this kid. Not that he, probably would ever see, because he literally never came out of his room. But anyway, I digress. And then I hopped on Zillow for shits and giggles, and I found this house. And literally, I made a snap decision in late June of 2023 to sell my house and buy this one. And I've got to tell you, that was the best decision I ever made. And it literally was just born of just impulse. Like, I'm a very impulsive person, but I usually get super stoked about something, and then I, obsess about it for a couple of weeks, and then I drop it, but this, I didn't. I came out here and I saw the house, and it's on a lake, and when I was a kid, that was my dream, to live on a lake. I was always hoping my parents would buy a house on the lake that we used to camp at all the time, and that never happened. But I got my dream, and I bought this house on this lake. It's a beautiful, quiet lake. I can come out here whenever I'm home and just chill out and watch the animals. But what I love the most is the peace of the solitude. Granted, I'm technically not alone, because I've got all the birds, I've got the alligators, the turtles, the fish, the bugs. But for me, this is heaven. This has got to be what heaven is like. I'm in love with this place. The house needs a lot of work. I got it for a steal, but in that steal, the purchase price, I also got, a money pit, and the money's gone. So everything's been at a standstill for over a year now in remodeling. But I got a house. It's got a good roof, it's got good siding, and a good foundation, and those are the three things that really matter. And I've got peace. I can come out here and just watch these birds, watch these fish. Every once in a while I get an otter. I have a little gator that's always swimming around. I'm happy. I'm happy. Financially, things kind of suck right now, and it really sucks. It really sucks because I do have to work and everything. I need to win the lottery. There's so much good I could do with lottery money. But anyway, I'm trying to be kind of quiet out here. The voices carry over this water. Trying not to make a whole lot of noise since it's so early. But, yeah. Lonely, alone, I'm alone, and I like it. I'm not lonely at all. That's why I don't have any friends. They're upkeep. I don't need upkeep. It's starting to get hot with that sun. If I ever get lonely, and I really never get lonely, but if I have those moments where I feel like I need to be around somebody, then I can go and, hang out with my kid's dad or hang out with my kids. They're all grown and everything. Today I'm going to go hang out with my new grandbaby. Super excited about that. She's getting so big. But, yeah. Oh, here comes one of my bird friends. We got boat-tailed grackles. They're coming for some breakfast. Every time I come out here, I bring them breakfast. I'm not lonely. I'm not even alone. I've got my friends. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll probably throw in some pictures if I get anything exciting happening out here. Peace out.